there, I'm Jamie. I work for the Midland County Public Libraries in Youth Services, and I do a lot of the programming and ordering the books for our teens. And this is Hannah. She does a lot for our middle grade and the little kids, and if we need her to, she steps in and helps with our teens. And today we are going to discuss young adult books that are fairy tale retellings to go with our summer reading program this summer of Reimagine Your Story. So let's start. I read Dorothy Must Die. Let me read you the back. Your mission: remove the Tin Woodman's heart, steal the Scarecrow's brain, take the lion's courage, and then Dorothy must die. And this is by Danielle Page. So it's not an actual retelling, it's a revisitation into Oz by our protagonist, Amy, who ends up in Oz the same way that Dorothy did. A tornado takes her trailer and drops it. And none of what they tell you to expect on the back of this book happens in the book. So, Dorothy does not die yet. That's just the mission that what they call themselves the wicked give to Amy. She meets the wizard. She meets the other good witch. She meets a couple of other wicked witches. And all of them want Dorothy gone. It gets a little dark. There's some torture. There's some gore. There's death. And there's some curse words dropped in. It's not all the time. It's kind of sprinkled through, but it's there, so be attentive.
Have you read Wicked?
Yes.
How, tone-wise, how is this compared to Wicked?
Wicked, I think, was more metaphorical and lyrical. This, since it's set more in our modern age, is more on point with now.
Okay. Because I know I actually did not enjoy Wicked very much because it was so bleak.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it sounds like it's more exciting and more engaging.
It really is. Let me give you a quote, one of my favorite quotes. This is from Amy in the book, and I have cheats, so ignore me. Magic always wants to be something different from what it is already. Now, that makes sense to me. It reminds me of myself. And that kind of brings in what broke Dorothy, too, when she came back to Oz later. Magic has a different reaction to humans from the other world than it does from the people in Oz itself. So
neat.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. There are 3 other books in this series: The Wicked Will Rise, The Yellow Brick War, and The End of Oz. And I do want to read those too, because I want to find out what really happens. Do they get the courage? Do they take the Scarecrow's brain? I want to find out. So
that's been on my list. So I'll probably have to read it for this summer.
Yeah.
I love retellings and reimaginings.
Oh, I do too.
So a couple of my favorites I have here. This is Shadow and Bone. It's the first book in the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So this whole series, the mythology is really interesting because it's all based on Russian folklore. And so I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit of a different flavor than a lot of the fantasy that's out there because it is based on Russian mythology rather than like European, French, German. So I think it's very good. This is the first in a trilogy, and then there are also a couple of spin-off series, Six of Crows by the same author, and The Ninth House, but I think that might be the second in that series. King of Scars.
I think so, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's been
But
a
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, so this is really cool. It follows the main character, and she, of course, it's a YA novel, ends up having special powers. Now, right, magic is like a thing in here. Most of the government's army is like magical warriors, and she has a type of magic that is totally different from anything else, except for one guy, spooky guy, the Darkling, and her power is kind of like the opposite of that. So it turns into a really interesting sort of dichotomy and story. And I'm not going to spoil any of it, but I do recommend it.
I haven't read that one yet. It's on my list too. But that one I have
Okay.
read.
So the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, Cinder, is checked out right now. This is the second book, Scarlet. So the whole series, each book is based on a different fairy tale. But they're all part of the same series, and they all tie into each other. They have the same characters. I love this series, and I've never recommended it to someone who didn't like it. Like, my dad read it and liked it. My little brother read it and liked it. It's just amazing. So the first book, Cinder, is about Cinder. She is an amputee. She has like a mechanical leg. She's a cyborg. And there's like, deals with a bunch of stuff. Racism, sexism, her evil stepmother hates her, but then it kind of follows the original Cinderella story, right? Like there's a prince, the whole like trying to find her after a chance meeting, but it is so much cooler because cyborgs and moon people and intrigue and a plague.
Well, it's the science fiction aspect of it. We get to go to space throughout the series, and when you find out where the magic comes from the lunar people, it's what? Why? And what I loved the most was all the characters, both male and female, had their own agency. They stood on their own, but supported each other, and it wasn't like what you see in the original fairy tale.
Right, and that's what, it's really interesting to see these stories, Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Snow White, translated into this whole different setting and genre. So it's just really interesting, and it's one of my favorite series.
And one of the best characters is a complete android. Right? I love
my gosh.
Aiko. She is fantastic.
Once you finish this, read Wires and Nerve.
I want book 2. We have it on order. We're seeing. So, any suggestions for other fairy tale retellings?
Oh, we're going to have a whole list on our summer reading Read Squared for this, but yeah, Entwined by Heather Dixon is a good one. I'm trying to think of, because I have some that we don't have at the library. Heckett, do you have one?
Yes. I have 2 that are Alice in Wonderland ones. There's Heartless by Marissa Meyer, who did the Lunar Chronicle series.
Yeah.
And then there's also one called A Blade So Black, where Alice is African American. Oh my! I haven't read it yet. I already ordered the second book, so I want to do that one. And then there's also Witch and Wizards by James Patterson, which just pulls in from all sorts of different magical themes and fairy tales in that series.
That was, I would recommend The Rest of Us Just Live Here
That
by
was
Patrick
great.
Ness. It's not
Yeah.
really a fairy tale retelling, but it kind of pulls in like the whole superhero, supervillain. What about the people who are around the chosen one? So, you know, in essence, there's the chosen one, but the rest of us just live here. And so it focuses on those kids in the high school, you know, the kids who aren't Buffy. So
And then we have The Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. It's kind of buried deep, but it's a look at Persephone and Hades
ooh.
in a contemporary modern kind of retelling, but you have to really dig into the
Isn't it?
metaphor to get it.
It's creepy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty creepy.
Yeah.
That's why I liked it. Right, anything else?
I'm good.
All right, well, we hope you like this, and we will be doing more moving forward, so y'all have a wonderful day, guys.